So as part of my research, I realised that people dismiss what they know as common sense, anything but mathematics, because if it is mathematics, well then they can't do it. So I've developed a number of tools that help tutors to peel off the layers that hide their mathematics. First of all, asking them exploratory questions about where they work or where they perform their hobby or their pastime or homemaking or whatever it is, that by asking general questions about it, they are now in the position of explaining something to the tutor. And this is something that they're very comfortable with and very familiar with. And that's sort of the first stage, to break down the barrier that this is not common sense, this is information that you have that the tutor doesn't have. The next stage of it, and that's the activity modelling tool. The next stage is very similar, but it's more granular. It takes a closer look. So the tutor, having built a model in broad strokes of the locus of their activity, can start to ask questions about their specific role within that environment and what exactly they do, what information they get, what they have to do with it, what things they have to take into account, what risks there are, the unusual situations that arise, because the research show that almost half of a person's work is not straightforward. Even though there's plenty of processes and procedures, routines and regulations to guide it, almost half of it is different every day. So they have to make judgments about priority and urgency and competing demands and constraints and so on. So having now a more granular detail of what the person actually does in their work or their play, that gives the tutor the opportunity to identify that it could be probability that underpins a certain decision-making process. It could be counting, it could be space and shape, because very often people consider mathematics as anything to do with numbers. And numbers is a very key part of it, but it's also about space and shape. It's about pattern and relationships, and it's about data handling and chance. And these are things that are the routine tools that people use every day to live their lives. It's my suspicion that people teach the way they were taught, and the more successful a person is at the subject that they have command at, the more likely they are to teach it the way that they were successful. But a tutor must realise that people learn in multiple different ways, and as an adult grows and matures to survive in this environment, they have to have developed a number of different ways of learning different things and making different decisions. So if the tutor were to realise that this is not about the subject primarily, it's about the person, and once the person has given the opportunity to learn in the way that suits them best and to capitalise on what they know, well then the learner has a better chance of a favourable outcome, and the tutor has broadened the palette of the ways in which they can help students to learn.